Mm. Happy Friday! Petunia loves to sit on my lap when I'm doing the live. She gets a little nervous when she's on the floor and I'm doing a live. Anyhow, I would like to welcome you and being here with us. And I have to go over a few rules. If you want something, make a comment that you would like to buy it, and we will invoice you through PayPal. And we will not share any information with anybody else. It's just for our eyes only, and we want to keep it that way. And let's see, I want to talk a lot about creativity today because what I'm going to be showing you was just a fraction of a thought in my mind before it came to fruition. What I wanted to do some embroidering, and didn't know what I was going to make. All I knew was I wanted to do on canvas. I wanted to use some stamps. I wanted to do some watercolors, and I wanted to embroider it. That's all that came up at first. And my husband says, well, what are you going to do with that? I go, well, I don't know yet. It's percolating, but I just have to make it. You know, sometimes I get driven to make things and not knowing what they're going to be in the end. I just have to go through the process. That's my creative process. That's my intuition, and that's my really my meditation, where I get to be at peace with myself. And hi, Jacqueline. And I get to just totally enjoy the process of whatever it is. And when I say enjoying the process, I don't let outside thinking come into play. I don't doubt myself. I don't let any shoulds get in the way, or I don't think about anybody that is going to buy it. I make it for me first, and then I share it with you if you want to buy it. And I took me a long time to get there, and I'm going to share something with you that's very personal and it seems very self-centered, but it was self-centered. When I would have people come up to the booth where I was selling something in the show, I would look at them as dollar signs, like, what are they going to buy from me? And I had to change that thinking, because it's not about the money for me. It is, but it's not about the money. It's about the creative process and sharing my joy and sharing my artwork with other people, and just kind of sharing a part of myself, a part of my soul, a part of myself. I'm saying that again, but it really is. So these items I'm showing you today are items that were the beginning of what I was telling you about. I just wanted to embroider. I just wanted to do a little bit watercolor. I just wanted, and then I started adding vintage trims, because I have a passion for a lot of things, but vintage trims are a very big passion. This is a what?
Yeah, we cut to it.
Oh. Yeah. Oh. This piece right here is, I can't read what they're saying. Oh, anyhow, these pieces right here are vintage, and this is an ombre effect that I bought it. I don't know what they used it for. It's a little bit stiff, but I loved it. And then this is a mother of pearl button over here, and this is some vintage trim. This is a little vintage applique. This is rickrack. And so this is stamped, like I said, and then I colored it with watercolors, and then I embroidered where I thought. I didn't embroider the whole thing. I love just doing what I think is enough to make a statement, to have the eye kind of go through the whole thing. And this one I love, because these little things right here are just so pretty. And this is vintage trim right here. So what these are their arm board, their wrist boards for the computer, and they have lentil beans in them. And this is a mouse pad holder so that you put your wrist on it and you can move your mouse, and they're kind of cool as far as working with them, because it really does support your wrist and your hand as you're working. Now, if you flip this over, Dwayne, they can see the back side. And this is some beautiful fabric that matches the front. And then this one. And this is a silk piece in the back. And I've used, again, vintage trims on them. So these pieces, as a set, I'm selling them for $53. You may buy one without the other, but it would be a different price point. So this would be $35 and this would be $25. So if you buy it as a set, you get a little bit better deal. But even if you separate them, whatever makes you happy. You know, I think going to work and putting your wrist on those, it's like, oh, what a nice way to start the day. So let me backtrack to what I was saying about people walking up to my booth. I never did finish that. So when people walk up to my booth, I would look at them that way. Now, when they walk up, I get to see them in a different light, and I get to see them being attracted to the things that I've made from my heart and from that place of love is what I call it. And so it's a whole different energy for me. I get such enjoyment out of doing that. And anyhow, so we're going to move on to the next one. This one I used a vintage patch. Oh, it's a white dog, and with flowers, and I used a vintage patch right there, and I embroidered these little guys. And then this one I'm calling Sky, because this stamp just spoke to me as a sky. I don't really know if it was considered a sky when I bought it, but I just really like the way it looks. And these are the little vintage patches. And I love the way that when I did the watercolor on it, it turned a little bit purple, like a sunset in the sky. Just so pretty. And this is vintage trim here. And there's a word for it, and I really don't know what it is. And now the poodle is so sweet, isn't it, Jacqueline? Okay, you want to turn those over, Dwayne, please? Oh, this has a nice little velveteen on the back of it. And that one has a nice little stripy. I love little fringy stuff. This is one of the things that really make me happy, is when I get to do little fringy stuff. I went to downtown LA and bought that. It's not vintage, but I just love the way it looked. I love that green in there. Hi, Sylvia. Nope. Okay. So anyhow, that was fake out. That was a fake out. I got faked out. So again, this is $25 and this one's $35. They're wrist rest and for your computer, for your mouse pad and your keyboard. I really like them a lot. I'm very happy. Now this next one I'm going to be showing you is a short version. So those people that have a very short keyboard is going to be happy with this one. The other way. There you go. So this one is a sunflower. I love sunflowers. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I had fun with the stitching. Like this is a chain stitch going around here. And hi Sylvia. And this is French knotting. And so I got to play with the stitches a little more. I forgot my stitching, so I had to look it up on YouTube and see how to do the stitches, how to do fancy stitches. But these are just my basic stitches that I learned how to do when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. I've always been a creative. Like I said, I switch around a lot on what I make: jewelry, sewing, different things. This one has very little embroidery on it, but I just love the way he turned out. And again, this one has the vintage trim on it, if you want to show the back side. It's filled with lentil beans. And here's some more of the little appliques that I put on there with the green check fabric. No, Sylvia, petunia's not for sale. Okay, this one's pretty wacky. I get, sometimes I go a little overboard. More is more sometimes with me. So that is a snail over here. Oh. Oh. This is a snail. Look how cute he is. And those are supposed to be pansies. But I think you have to have kind of a cross eyes when you look at that to make it look like a pansy. But to me it looked like a pansy. And then this is, these are purple butterflies. Again, I did the chain stitch around it. And then this is a little piece of trim that I put on there. And this little stripy thing is part of the fabric, part of the canvas. And I just love that. I like the imperfection in things. And this is really pretty purple. It has a little dazzle. So for sure when you're working using your keyboard, you are going to be smiling because it has a lot of light coming in through it with the sparkles. Okay, now the back side is, so this is really pretty ticking, a mustard colored ticking. And then this is some fabric that my friend gave me that she found at the thrift store. And I love the way, I didn't do this embroidery on it. It was already on there. And I love the 3 different linen fabrics on there. And again, this is vintage and this is vintage. And again, this is 25 and this is 35. Or you could buy a set for 53. And on to the next. This one is so cute. So cute. So I go off on tangents about different supplies. Like I need French ribbon. I have to have French ribbon. So I go looking for French ribbon, or I call friends up like Jacqueline and say, Jacqueline, do you have any French ribbon? And of course she does. And so I buy it from her. And so this is a French ribbon and made into a flower. And then this is a button at the top. I love buttons. Embroidered leaves and watercolored. And these are actual little vintage leaves. And then here's the snail and the bird and the flowers. I think these colors right here are my favorite colors. So you might see me working with those colors quite a bit. Love this, just the greens and the blues and the peaches. They remind me of my childhood. I used to have an outfit that was peach, and I could just see it. And so when I pull those colors, it brings back that memory of the fabric of that I used to have when I was a kid. Look at that. Look at that beautiful fabric. Now this is a vintage fabric, old upholstery fabric. This is newer fabric, but this trim is also vintage. Thank you. Thank you, Jacqueline. See, it's because I get stuff from you. Just wait. I have something to show you, Jacqueline. So, again, these are 35 and 25, or a set for 53. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the creative process for me. If you have ever been in my room, you'll know what I'm talking about. I am going to do a video so you can see what it is like in my room. So I saw this program on Netflix, and it said it was all about creativity, and it says have all your favorite things in your room where you work. Have all the things that you love, even if they're weird. Have them in your room, and it inspires your creativity. It makes you think outside of the box, and ideas come to you. So my room is basically set up like that. I have a lot of vintage flowers that I absolutely love. They make me so happy. I have jars of buttons set up on another shelf. I have envelopes because I love doing cards, and I love pretty envelopes. And I have all my trims set up in one area, all my lace, all my velveteen, all of that, and I just look at it and I think of things that I want to make. I have some beakers that are like for scientists and mixing stuff and making those things out of, but the beakers make me happy. I don't know what it is about the beakers, but they really inspire me. Maybe it's the science, maybe it's the combining things together that are not normally combined together and kind of combust and create something new. But I have my beads are all set up in one section, and everything's set up in sections so that I could pull it whenever I want, and it makes that thinking of whatever I want to make a lot easier. And believe me, I do lose things, and it drives me friggin' crazy, and I go around for days and days and going in circles. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? And then I eventually find it, and I'm very happy, and I get to finish my project that I started on because I needed that last piece. So it's kind of important to keep your room where you're at in a setup area that you can pull your things easily, and that way the frustration doesn't come. And that's the other thing about frustration. You know, as a creator, you know, sometimes you get frustrated, and you really just have to let it go and let it be and set it aside and tell yourself, it's not its time yet. It's not its time yet. And then eventually you'll go back and everything will just come together like Mary Poppins' bag of goodies, and it turns out beautiful. Thank you. I'm drinking some water. And the other thing too is when you're making things and you make a mistake, that is a golden opportunity to change what you're making and making it something else, and it usually comes out 10 times better than the original thought. So just enjoy the process. That's all I could tell you about creativity. Enjoy the process. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to these. That's what we're planning on doing. Oh, okay. So now we're going to move on to just these little patches that I started, and then I will add things to them. And let me just show you one that I already added things to. That one's not done yet. That's probably going to be a heart. No. excuse me. So some of the hearts I have put some aromatherapy in, and I think what I'll do is when I do the aromatherapy, I would be on request. Some of them I did were ginger and orange. It smells absolutely wonderful, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. So if you want to request aromatherapy, I will put aromatherapy potion into it if you decide that's what you want. Okay, so this one is a butterfly. Love how it turned out. So it was watercolored and then stitched, and then I found some beautiful vintage sequins that I thought I would do a French knot over, and I thought it turned out really pretty. I don't know if really those are going to be hearts. I might be making something else out of these. I haven't quite decided because I have quite a few, and I think I have quite a few of these hearts already. So we'll see what happens with them. Now this one, I had the idea of, this is a doily, a crochet doily, and I decided to do some embroidery on top of a silk linen, and I just love the effect of it. I don't know if you could really see it. It's very detailed and it's very pretty. So that might actually go on a tote bag. I haven't quite decided yet. These are all things that I'm just in the beginning process of. Now this one has a butterfly, and these little buttons have the 4, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom holes that you sew on. And what I did is I added, the other way, babe. The other way. One more time. There you go. I made a little flower in the center of it. I saw a reel and they did that, and I want to do that. So I did it, and I think they're just adorable. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but they're right there. They're white china buttons with a little flower to match the rest of it. And here's one more. And that is a stamp. That's 2 stamps. My friend Marilyn gave me the leaf. It's kind of, I love the colors of that one. It's kind of Moroccan looking to me. So we'll see what I make with it. To be continued. And this is a bluebird with a sunflower. And that just is, it's a very small, delicate, not too much as far as cluttering. It's very simple, but I think whatever I do with it will be very nice in the end. And here's I'm taking stage directions. So that is a leaf and a flower and a butterfly. And there you go. Again, I just love the watercolor process and the stamping process and the embroidery process. I think I've been doing this project now maybe 6 months. I've looked on Facebook recently, and my crocheted necklaces I've been doing for 10 years now, but they keep evolving into something else, into something else, into something else, and so I'm really enjoying it, and as long as I'm enjoying it, I'm going to do it. So 10 years is a long time. This is a moon, I mean not a moon, a sun with a moon face. I love him. I like his lips. So that's the last one of those guys. So you will be surprised what I turn them into. So when I'll let you know when that's going to happen. So it's fun to be creative. I surprise myself sometimes with what I come up with. And I've been doing it for so long now. I have a lot of trust in my feelings and my thoughts when I do something. And I always give it like a 6 months time. Like, you know, like when I first get it, I think, oh, I'm going to sell out, I'm going to sell out. And no, it's like a 6 months process before it actually, you know, starts selling sometimes. Sometimes I hit it on the dot immediately, and sometimes not. It's a 6 months process. But that's how fame is, right? These are the hearts, the mouse hearts. That one has the French ribbon. Oh, peach flower heart.
You have to wait for it to move from the left side to the right side before people can see it.
Oh, okay. So that is a peach heart with embroidery and some leaves and stuff on it. That is, you know, I mean, you could use them for anything you want. But a friend of mine says, oh, what a great mouse pad, oh, you know, wrist holder. So that's what I'm calling it. But you could use them for whatever you like. So can you turn that one over, friend? And that is 25. And again, it has the vintage trim on it. This one's really pretty. I make them in collections. If you want to know how I do this is I will come up with an idea and I allow myself to make 12 of them. And if they sell, then I'll make more. But I start off with just 12 because I used to make millions and millions. Like today, I have a new idea and I cut 20. It's more than my 12, so we'll see how they go. But so these are leaves, and then these are vintage leaves here with the French flower on them, and the vintage trim. You want to flip it over, please? Ooh, look at that back. Now this is vintage fabric. It's satiny and pretty, isn't it? Really pretty. Okay. And this is one of those that I absolutely love. This is a lizard and a rose. I love my little Lizzies. Look at, isn't he cute? And all I did was just a little bit of black embroidery so that you can see. Oscar. Focus. Okay. So this is just a little bit of black embroidery so you can see that he's a Lizzie with a rose, a lizard with a rose. And then look at this. Is that what reminds you of a tutu? So pretty. So it's a lizard and a rose. Look at the back. And that's vintage fabric right there. And love the tutu fabric trim. My friend Marilyn gave that to me. Just love it. Okay. And then we have this really beautiful French ribbon. Like I said, I get obsessed with this.
Wait for move from the left to the right before anybody can see it.
I have to slow down a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm learning.
So now they can see it.
Okay, thank you. So this is a lime green with a little pink on the leaf. And this is French ribbon. Love this one. It's a little ombre color. And it has a little vintage button in the center of it. These just really make. Now these are one of the things that when I took to the show, um, people liked them. They just came up and just picked one up and said, "I want this." It spoke to them, and these really spoke to me when I was making them. I really really enjoyed making them. And this is a little velveteen background. It's a velveteen burnt out, so it has a little design in it. But look at that hot pink with that green. It's just so pretty. Color means a lot to me. Color, I love color, and I like making things that match, but then I like an odd color in the match. Does that make sense to you? Like, it doesn't really go, but it goes. And you look at it, and you kind of think about it for a minute, with the things that I make that have a lot of color in them. So this one has this little button. It's a wooden button made out of butter. It's a butterfly, and it has the French ribbon. And these right here are stamen. I'm a nut for stamen. They're really hard to work with, so I don't do a lot with them, but I do some things with them. But they make my heart happy. I have a whole drawer full of stamen. They're vintage. They would do it in the millinery work. Back in the day when they did the hats, the big, beautiful hats, and they would have these stamens, and they would have these beautiful vintage flowers. Just gorgeous. There we go. And look at that back. That one's silk. That one's hand-dyed silk fabric in the back. It's just beautiful. So anyhow, passion for stamens too. I use most of the things I use, I shouldn't call it product, most of the supplies I use are vintage. I don't know, I think the quality and the way it was made and the colors, because a lot of this you can't use the same dyes that you used to use back in the day. They're more vibrant. And I also think they used more natural dyes, which gave a better color. So I think that's one of my reasons why I like it. And plus, they don't make it anymore, and it seems very, very special to me when things aren't made anymore, and so people collect them. Now, this one has a vintage button in the center of it, and like I said, it's a collectible button. It's a beautiful button. And then this trim is vintage, and it has a little metallic in it. And this is French ribbon that I love, and so it's pretty cool. Oh, in the back of this piece is linen with machine stitched embroidery on it. It's beautiful. I made some handbags out of this, and I think this is the last of this fabric. It's beautiful fabric. It's just gorgeous. Beautiful. So you have any questions? Anything you would like to ask me about anything? Any creative process? How to? What kind of glue? Anything? Oh, okay. Well, we'll go on to the next. Now this this one is out of my box. Literally, I made a square, and I don't normally do squares, but I thought it called for a square. It's so pretty. It's pretty in pink, and it's square with really teeny tiny embroidery flowers on it, with some vintage it's not zigzag. What is it called? Anyhow, I'll remember in a minute. And some more trim and some more trim. But I just thought it was really pretty. And when I was making that, I was thinking about the Barbie movie and the bubblegum pink. So they say that that's going to be the color of everything right now because of the movie. But who's to know? I don't follow trends. I just liked it together. And then the back side is, oh, just the fabric with some pink trim on the back. Yeah, that really, really pretty. And then I have one more little one. This guy's very small, but he's very cute. I did a gold flower. When you see it, not yet. There it is. Yay! I did it. This has a gold embroidered flower on the ticking with the vintage trim. It's very simple. It's small, but it's so cute. But on the back side has a rooster. That kind of stuff makes me happy. You should see when I come up with a new idea, I stand up and I clap. And I'm by myself, and yet I'm having fun making things. So, yeah, being reminded to drink water. So that's my little rooster. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is one, but I cut out 20 of these. This is vintage baby clothes, 60s, 70s. And then on the back side, I put the back of the baby clothes. And on the front side, you can use this as a pocket. And this is, the outside is not vintage fabric, but the inside, it's vintage roses. Isn't that beautiful? And then the, in a minute. And then the handles have some trim on it. My wonderful cousin Sylvia loves to go picking for me, so she picked up this trim. And then on the back side, it has little buttons on the back side, so if you open one of the buttons, you could still put something in there and then close it up. And I'm going to lay it on the table so you could see it. Now, how I came up with this idea is I was watching something on Instagram, and I saw this lady using doll clothes on hard purses. And I thought, oh my God, that is a great idea, but not what I want to do. The idea was to use baby clothes for me on tote bags. And I thought the idea was so whimsical and just so fun that, you know, adults and little kids would like these. And, you know, you could make them and give like a baby gift if somebody's having a little girl, fill them up with supplies and give it to them. And I think that would be a great gift. Now that's the back side. And Dwayne's turning it over so you can see the front side. And I used some vintage trim here to take care of the seams. And a little vintage trim here. And again, this is a little pocket. So I am so happy with these. I want to make more. And so I cut out 20 of them. Well, actually not. I cut out 10 and then I cut out another 10 of another design. So we'll see what happens and how many I get sewn up. But they just make my heart sing when I come up with ideas like this. It just, I don't know. I get to use my supplies and I get to use my creativity. My life can't be any better than what it is right now. Then creating for me is just a big part of my life. And it always has since I was a little girl. You know, 5 years, 6 years old, my grandma taught me how to sew. My grandma taught me how to crochet. So those are the two things that I've been doing a lot lately. And it all comes from my childhood. And I was just born this way. So anyhow, that's all I got for today. Is there something that you would like to see again? Or can I show you this, go back in reverse and show you some more things? Now we got 15 minutes. Let's kind of do this in reverse. Dwayne's going to put them up. That is the purple butterfly with the snail. Again, these are watercolor stamped and embroidered and sewn with little bits of trims or buttons or things like that. And this one is the too slow, too fast.
You need to go slow for me because I have to switch in the title and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what one that is because we're coming back in a different order than I saw it.
Oh, we're not doing from top to bottom. We're doing it from the bottom to the top is, I think, what we're doing.
Well, no, because these are the two pieces. If we were going from the bottom to the top, it would be different. So this is sunflower and bird, I think.
Yes. Okay, so this is the sunflower and the birds. And with vintage trims and
Start winding down, Mom.
I'm winding down. I really enjoy doing this. And it's like after we're done with this, I'm like on a high. Seriously, I am just so happy that I get to do this and I get to share my thoughts and my art and what I do with you all. And I know, and this is going to go up on YouTube after we're through with this. It will be up there soon. And the YouTube channel is Sandy Marino. And
Is that right?
multimedia artist. And then we're going to be doing this every Friday at 6 o'clock. So we will do a posting and letting you know when we'll be on. But if you want to mark it in your calendars, we'll be on every Friday at 6 o'clock. I'll be showing something that I have made or something I'm in process with, or I will be talking about the creative process and how I got there with whatever I'm making. Because, I mean, it's not like I just think about it and I make it. It takes, quite a bit of time to, sometimes it takes me 3 months to get all the pieces together. I might have an idea and then I think, okay, well, how am I going to do it? And then I think, what kind of materials do I need? How am I going to use it? How am I going to do it? So I'll be sharing some of that stuff with you. I'll be sharing whatever tools I use or whatever glues I use or whatever I do, I will show you or talk to you about it. I want to be really open on how I do things and how I come to the ideas that I come to. So please go to my YouTube channel and check out what I've already posted. And I think that's all I got for now. I'm like my son says, I'm winding down.